Hi, and welcome to episode 11 of West End Talks. You've joined us today on a bit of a sad day for theatre. One of the West End's longest running shows, Phantom of the Opera, has been confirmed that is it closed completely on West End. It may return in the future, but we don't know. But Karen McIntosh did make the announcement today stating that it was closed. But onwards and upwards, I'm sure there'll be a wonderful show opening in Her Majesty's Theatre soon enough. But back to today, and as you can see, we're going to this small musical. I don't think it's got much of a fan base. I think it's probably the most celebrity cameos in West End history, almost. But we're joined today by the bully, which we shouldn't really call him that, but he is. He's the bully in the musical. He plays Dean. It's Jordan Ricketts. So welcome, Jordan.
Hi everyone, how you doing? I hope you're all
Hi.
well.
Welcome, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. It's great to be here. As I said in the intro, your character's an interesting one that you play in Jamie.
Yep.
Or everybody's talking about Jamie. It's just a mouthful to say it all.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. ETAJ
all the
is
time.
a good little nickname.
Yeah, so Jamie. Sometimes. Aye, Jamie's suitable enough. We'll call it, for the purposes of the interview, we'll call it Jamie.
Sure.
So you have an interesting character, probably one of the most disliked characters, certainly in this musical.
I'd agree with that one, sure.
But in certain ways, misunderstood character, I think, as well. And I don't know if misunderstood is the right word, but he's a bit misunderstood himself. He doesn't really know himself.
That's the word I tend to phrase him up with. Yeah. Yeah.
Although he is homophobic, he is racist, he is anything you can think of, but in a way, he's a typical school bully. I think anyone that was bullied at school will have met a dean in some format, whether that's male, female, whether it's because they're homophobic, racist, whatever. They've met a dean if they've been bullied at school. I have. Mine was called Paul. I'll be perfectly honest, mine was called Paul. So I have met a dean. But we'll get more into the character and things once we start asking questions. But we're going to start for two, as the most fans will know. That's how we start every episode.
Yep.
And the first question is, how did Jordan get into performing arts?
So I got into performing arts. How did I do that? I was in secondary school, or high school, as some people call it, but I call it secondary school here in the West Midlands. And I was at school, and I was 15. And I know to most people that's considered like quite late compared to, you have some people starting when they're like 2, with the dance and they're singing at that age. But I just did I was your typical sports lad until about 15. I just did sports all my life. And then my secondary school had a production of Bugsy Malone on. And I knew that some of my friends were going to it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go watch. And I went to see it, and really arrogant of me at that age, I watched it and thought I could do better than that. It's so embarrassing to that's the way that I thought at that age. So then the next year they did Grease, classic. And I played Doody in that, and then it actually got to it, and I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible. It was the first time I was probably singing. There was a few boys dance classes every now and then at the school that I went to, but that was the first time where I'd really done everything properly. And I remember being so scared. I wasn't very good. My first, obviously, he's playing a guitar in his song, and I remember having to come out and just sit on this table in a blackout and sit down with this guitar and just be like, okay, right, this. And then I thought back to when I watched Bugsy Malone, and I was like, I remember when I was sat right there in the theatre, and I thought that this was fairly easy and that I could do better. And I'm sat there with this guitar in a blackout thinking, all my mates are watching, I'm going to make myself like an idiot. And I did to an extent, but I did all right. And then the year after that, I did Oliver, another classic, and then I played Fagin in that one. So completely different character, completely different, but full of just
from this
still
show,
full
we
of
had Adam
energy,
James
and it was
Dawson,
just really fun to play. Like,
and we had Luke Latchman
what you consider
from
like an
Jamie
old
as
man.
well. So they've actually done the show with
One of the
me.
leads as well.
No, exactly.
First
That
question
came
comes
as
from
like,
Tom about this.
it was a bit of
And he
like
says,
a
what was it like
mixture of, like,
being
there
in one of the
wasn't
biggest
a lot of
LGBTQ plus
boys at
musicals
the
of all
time
time?
doing it.
It was unbelievable.
At my
unbelievable,
school.
but it was never. I think the
but then
beauty
at
of
the
it was
same
never
time,
discussed.
I
It was just
after
it was
doing
part
that
and parcel,
first
it was
year
celebrated,
with Greece, I just
and
really,
actually, throughout
although
the
I
whole,
wasn't very good, I absolutely fell in love
time
with
in
it. And then it was
Manchester,
then doing that
the
next show where I got to relax a lot more and knew the process.
And,
you know, and then having all the prosthetic, you know, like the hair,
I can't
the
remember your
beard,
character, but
putting on the
their
costume
love
and
story
stuff.
is so beautiful, so
That
prominent
process,
throughout, and
I
actually
just
it's the
thought to
most
myself, this
celebrated
is
love
what I want
story
to do for
within
the
the
rest of my
show,
life.
to be honest.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, that's how I started. So about, 15.
The whole show is about
In fact, that is, as you said there, that is
teenagers.
a bit later than a lot of people do it. It's not the wrong way to do it. It's just your way. It's just your way. There are people that know that have started that age, but that's an interesting one. So when you sat down in that blackout with the guitar,
teenagers growing up, living their lives.
West End ever come through your head?
Yeah,
like, did you think you'd ever be at the West End? It's groundbreaking in its time, definitely. It's still groundbreaking just now, but at its time when it came out, it was certainly.
I just knew musicals. I'd never been to.
So Stephen wants to know, what's your favourite song?
So I'd never actually been to. Watching Bugsy Malone is my first ever interaction with anything on stage.
Now this is hard.
I mean, yeah, because I've
Bitch
always been a
Living
big fan of
interview.
films.
I know,
The idea of live performance didn't even
Bitch
clock
of
on.
Living is
So
amazing
then,
because
and
it's
this is how
the guy's
little
first
I
song,
knew when
proper
I ended up
ensemble
going
song,
to
and that was so fun to
sixth
do.
form
But I think my favourite song to watch
secondary school
was
on the first day. This is a story. Whoever asked me how I got into it, I always say this. On the first day, they were going through this new class. There was only about 10 of us, and they were going, okay, so what local group are you in?
And the first time those guys came in, because
one of the girls in the
and
class,
we came in,
and she said
blown
soprano,
away, like,
and I was like, I have no idea
dynamic,
what that is. And then
just
it went to, oh, I knew that she sang
mind-blowing.
like quite high. She could sing high. I was like, okay.
It represents
and then
so much.
Another girl who I know sang a bit lower.
Yeah, so it's got to be that one.
Said
It's all these
alto
females
again. Still, I'm like,
throwing.
what on earth is that? And then it gets to me, and I think, okay,
I love
soprano's high.
Must have been fun for the girls to do.
Like, really
I think so. I think they've got their anger out, their frustration. They're all giving it some.
And then everyone around me
can imagine
laughing, not in like a horrible way.
Yeah. But I think you bugged me.
And then they explained to me what just happened.
So you played Otto. Tell everybody, without spoiling the story, tell us who Otto is and a bit about him.
So yeah, that puts into context how West End was not even
on
my radar.
And you're now in the West End. And
Crazy.
The biggest show probably to open in the last 10 years.
Otto's just this,
certainly the newest show, and the biggest news show. It's opened in the last 10 years, and the biggest British show for a long while. So obviously you talked here about Doji and Grace and Fagin, but what was your first? What would you class your first professional role? I know your first West End role was this, but what would you class your first professional role?
I'm very lucky and grateful that Jamie's actually been my first professional show as well. I think so. Graduated in July last year.
Normal teenager.
But I think doing the shows that I did at Bird College at drama school.
So Adam says if you had to go back in and play a different character from Spring Awakening,
and then your shows at college, everything is just ramped up. I think the first, although it was a show still at college in my second year, because we did like a shortened version of the musical Nine, and I played Guido in that. Yeah. So I played Guido in that. And yeah, we sort of like
he gets through
sort
them,
of like
they all make jokes
shortened
about
down
it.
the first act
and then
of
you
the
go
show,
to another extreme,
and that was the first time because obviously at college in first years, I'm sure you know your typical first year they just scrape back everything that you've
learned. Morris,
but
not
for me I was quite lucky because I was so inexperienced. I didn't have like a lot
so it would be Morris
to scrape back in a way. Like I'd never done
amazing.
ballet, tap, so going to Bird was
that
a
makes sense.
huge like shock, but in a good way. I feel like I benefited from it.
Definitely.
So then
another one of the shows
in second year, that's when you really get the chance to actually start performing. You know, you've done that whole first year, which is so hard, and then they're like, okay, let's start to see what you can do now after that year. So I did that, and that it was just amazing to be in that college environment, performing with my friends who I've got to know for a year at college. and to finally see like your work start to amount to something, like something physical that you can then go on and do. So I think, although it wasn't professional, that was like a huge moment for me, confidence wise, knowing that after that year, I'm in a good place with my own skill and with everyone else and the mindset. So I think that was that was like a moment where I was just like, okay, like, yeah, I still want to do this. Because obviously a lot of people go to college and they realize it's not what they want to do. I think there was about 20 boys in our year, and I think we finished with about 9, I believe, around 9 boys. So quite a lot of boys dropped out.
Okay.
A lot of girls dropped out too. But when you see like a lot of boys in your year start dropping off and stuff, it's interesting to see like why. But yeah, so it got to, some boys have left, and then performing that, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do still, 100%.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that's a bit like everybody, because I went to catering college, but I don't do catering anymore. I realised that was, so it's the same sort of thing, you know what I mean? I'm not a performer, but I can understand where they going to college and realising that's not what you want to do, so I can certainly do that. Anyway, we'll move on. We will hold no responsibility for the next set of questions, because they all come from either fans of yours or fans of the show that you have been in. And in case you're not aware, this show has quite a few fans, quite a few crazy fans.
Just a little bit,
So the first question tonight comes from Sam, and they want to know, what was it like standing on a West End stage for the first time?
It was sort of, I guess like you build it up in your head, and then it gets to it and it doesn't disappoint, but it's so different.
Yeah.
So for me, I remember one of my third audition round for the show was on the stage. It was literally just me and a few of the creative team. And I stood up there, and the first thing I thought is like, oh, it's a lot smaller than I thought. Like and those are the things that for me, it automatically like made me feel more comfortable, because it was like, I knew the sort of the scale of it, but then something as small as going onto the stage and realizing it's not as big as you thought, sort of like made me feel a lot more confident in that sense. And then when I actually got the job, I remember I had this moment where we just done the warm up and everyone was making their way up, and I sat down downstage left with my feet just off the edge, and I just had a look around at the theatre, because the Apollo's a really nice size. It's great for the show. It's lovely and intimate, but it's not too small, and they've got like really nice decorations on the ceiling and stuff. And I just had a moment where I just sat there and just took it all in really. And then the dance captain at the time, Marvin, who's amazing, he literally came over to me and said, when I got this job, I literally sat exactly where you are and did exactly the same thing. And it was just really nice to know that someone else was just shared the same experience as well. So yeah, it was a moment of gratitude, because I was like, I can't believe I'm here, and then I can't believe it's all happened so quickly. And then at the same time, there is obviously that, not fear, but the anxiety feeling, the slight anxiousness of, okay, it's amazing that you've got here, but now you work hard. You work hard in the rehearsals. You've worked hard. It's time to get it into place. So yeah, it was that typical mixture of gratitude, being really, really excited, but also a bit scared as well.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Definitely, it's a new job. It's a brand new experience. So yeah, I can completely connect with that. Definitely. So obviously, you started in January. So you got a bit of a run before lockdown happened. But so you joined with Noah, didn't you? You joined in the big cast change.
Yeah.
There was a smaller one in February, but
about 5 others. Yeah. Me and Noah about 5.
That was the time Leighton and Luke Baker and everybody all left. Yeah. And then you started with Noah and that. So you had the opportunity to actually rehearse with a proper Jamie, because I'd spoke to a few other people who hadn't. who'd maybe run with the understudies or the swings, because obviously they were still performing and the lead character wasn't changing, but you got to work with in rehearsals with the actual Jamie that you would be working with.
Yeah,
that must have been better for you.
Yeah, it was a really nice experience to see, because it's been Noah's first job too.
Yeah.
Which for him is just unbelievable. That's like amazing. And he is absolutely incredible in that role. He's absolutely born to do it. So seeing him, he got like a 2-week like crash course of it before we then joined. Which is obviously understandable. He is the show revolves around him. I mean, his face is right behind you, which is fair enough.
He plays the lead character. And the named character.
Yeah. Face there, name there.
In the
yeah. So he got a little crash course, and then it was really nice to go in knowing that who I'm working really closely with is new to this as well, and just experiment with things. George, our president director, he was really, really good at just letting us have a play with things, doing things differently. I think because the show is so modern, and I think the characters are written in a way, like you said earlier, that everyone sort of knows that person in their life. Like you can look at someone, everyone knows a Dean when they're at school. Everybody knows a Jamie, a Pretty, because the show is written like that. I feel like the way it's crafted is really organic, and a lot of the times it was literally like, okay, look at the line, how would that have happened in school? And you think, okay, you think of different ways about that. And you don't even have to like be the one necessarily experiencing that at school. Like you didn't have to have been bullied at school to know what it looked like. I'm pretty sure, everyone has an understanding of what that looks like in this day. And then obviously you just amplify it to the point where on stage it looks right. And yeah, it was just really organic and really nice. I love my cast. They're great people to work with. And so yeah, it was during the rehearsal process, it was really good because we had Marvin and Tara work with us who were in the show at the time. So they were the ones that taught us all of the choreography. So it was nice to have a mixture of, like I say, existing people in the company to work with, while also knowing that I'm learning and following this journey with the people that I'm going to be sharing it with. Yeah.
You weren't, because sometimes there's only one cast member that's changing, or so they're the only ones really in rehearsal with the swings, and the swings are great. I'm not slagging swings off in any way. Anyway, swings are vital to a show, and very underrated or overlooked. But
absolutely,
they're not the ones you're going to be working with on a regular basis. Jamie is going to be more regularly Noah than it is going to be his understudy or his swing, or you know what I mean. So that's the point.
Like every performer does things differently, and it was nice to see. It was nice to work with Noah and do the scenes differently, because then when it got to the stage and it got to the early performances, when we would change things up slightly, it just felt exactly like it did in the rehearsal space. So it was great.
A couple of thousand people watching you.
Just a little bit different.
Yeah, just slightly different. So our next question comes from Louise, and it's a kind of one question but two-barreled answer, or two-barreled question. She says, had you seen the musical before, and did you work with Luke in training? So did Luke give you any advice, basically?
Okay, so we started rehearsals December 2nd, and I did have the company said to us, like, if you want to go see the show, we can sort it out. I personally just decided not to. That was just because I really enjoyed getting to know the show through the script.
Right.
And I had seen the cinema release when they released it with John's cast, when they broadcast that out to the cinema. So I had seen the show, I guess, but it had been a long time ago. But yeah, I just decided not to go see it because I wasn't sure if subconsciously, because Luke's obviously did it the entire time, and has done an amazing job of bringing Dean to life. I mean, he literally took it from page to real life.
From workshop, yeah, from workshop.
Exactly. Yeah, he was there since day one. I didn't want to. So I'm not that type of person anyway, but I didn't want to subconsciously like follow him and follow his path. I really wanted to just make my own. I'm not sure if that sounds really like artsy fartsy, but that's just me personally.
No, I completely understand that and appreciate it. Definitely,
Yeah.
I would rather somebody did that than do a complete carbon copy. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. When I see an actor changing, I'm really interested. Okay, I was sad to see Luke go, but I was really interested because he had been there for day one. But I was really interested to see, well, okay, so what's this Jordan going to do? How's he going to take over? Is it going to be an exact carbon copy, or is it going to be something a bit different? Are you going to you can't change it too much because it is a real person. Like Dean, I don't know if he was called Dean, but there was an actual Dean that did bully Jamie in real life.
Yeah,
so
he does fit into
terribly much.
Yeah, he does fit into a really strong stereotype. His character, his character's a strong stereotype that, like you say, you do have to stick to. But yeah, I wanted to have my own sort of pathway, my own journey. How he interacted with not necessarily Jamie, but just other people in the class as well, in the year 11s and the cast. So yeah, I just decided not to go for the sense of, I felt like I was confident of how it was going. I actually only met Luke like once or twice before the cast change was going to happen. I didn't spend any time with him. But in the short time I spoke to him, he's a great guy. And obviously, you know, he did the show for so long and he was great at it. But no, I didn't work with him at all, really.
Well, that's fair dues. Everybody works differently. Kaitu, apologies for the pronunciation of your name, I do apologise, wants to know, were you prepared for being on a show with such a mad, committed fan base?
I don't think I was. I didn't even. There was so much going on. I didn't even think about that. And then it was when I actually looked at the fan page on Twitter. No, sorry, Instagram. Which
Jamie.musical.
Yeah. If I just quickly get it up now, I'm just wondering.
It's my friend that runs that, so I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how many. Yeah, so they've got 11.7k followers, and then I was like, okay, that's quite a lot. That's quite a hardcore fan base. And then it was when we had the opening night and we came out and you see everyone, and you literally just see how many people just love the show, like they live and breathe it, and it's just great to see because it is people like them that make shows like ours carry on. Because
definitely.
It's not, like you said, it's still considered new. It's British. It's, it evolves around topics that even still aren't fully accepted. And it's, a lot of people, especially in this country, when they consider musical theatre, they consider absolute classics, your Les Mis, your Phantom, your Oklahoma. And if they're coming to London and they're willing to spend their money, they perhaps don't want to take a chance on a show like ours, but then they absolutely should because it's amazing and the fan base really says it all. Like, yeah, I've seen crazy things. They do events for each other. They do meetups. It's just great. It's literally
Jamie fan event.
And support. It's great.
The Jamie fan event's fantastic. I was at the very first one. Unfortunately, the other ones have clashed with work. Being older, you have to work. But I would have been at the other ones. But the very first one was fantastic. Like the actual Jamie was there. Like Jamie, Fifi turned up. Dan Gillespie turned up. Good, it was amazing who turned up. Quite a few of the
and for like a fan base to do that is just amazing. It just shows how strong it is.
Yeah, definitely it is. So Helen wants to know, who's your favourite character in the show?
Who's my favourite character? Mine, obviously. I'm joking. I think my favourite character is probably rather Trey Sophisticated, played by the amazing James Gillan, or Hugo, because I remember, because obviously I've been doing it with the Bianca Del Rio,
It's just a small name
aka
there.
Roy. Yeah, aka Roy, who is one of the nicest people I have ever met. He is just amazing. He's as funny as you think he would, and he's as nice as you think he would. Which actually I'm not sure because he's shady on Drag Race, but
He's very shady in Drag Race, yes.
oh yeah,
he was
absolutely.
definitely
No, yeah, in person he's absolutely lovely, and seeing him play Hugo has just been, he just sold that character to me. I just thought he was perfect for it. I feel like his songs are really funky. He has that really lovely scene with Jamie after he's just been attacked by the thugs, and then he just has that lovely scene where you just see a different side to him. And I think for you to get a nice mature character in the show who has elements of being soft but then also being a very real person, and knowing that he's like shielding Jamie but not to the point where it's gonna stunt his growth. And I feel like when I'm older I would happily play that role. I just think it's a great role. It's got a nice mixture of everything. But yeah, Hugo and Trey Sophisticated, because James just has the best accent and he has some hilarious lines in the show.
James lives literally 10 minutes away from me.
Oh, really?
In real life, like when we're up in Scotland, yeah. Where we're both from, we're literally 10 minutes away from each other.
Yeah. He's just great in that role. Yeah, the accent just kills me every night. I could be side of stage and have heard his lines a million times, and every time I just laugh because he's just such a pro. It's just great.
Yeah. And it's the accent helps with the humour too. Some of the best comedians are Scottish, like Billy Connolly, for example. But the best thing about James, though, is every time I see the show and I stage door, he comes out and he'll sign the programme and he'll oh, you're fantastic. Oh, where in Scotland are you from? You've asked me that 17 times already, don't panic. Like, and then he'll look up and he'll go, oh, so I have. Oh, sure. And then realise, but he's that just like well, where are you from? Like, and then he looks at me and I'm like, oh, so you have. That's what I love about James. So, Christian kind of goes into your bullying side of things and asks, how hard is it to play a bully and say some of the terrible and not nice things that you actually have to say in the show?
Right.
Because we're hoping you don't actually mean them.
No, of course.
But as Jordan, you would say that.
Like, in the nicest way possible, like, I love being, like, the bad guy.
I think everybody would like that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a really nice sort of obstacle in the show. And it's nice to be a part of. But yeah, we just like I said, I hadn't seen it in a while, and I can't remember if they censored some of it for the cinema screening. I can't quite remember if they did or not.
I think so. No, I don't think we censored any of it.
Okay. But yeah, so when I got the script, obviously, I read it, and it's just one of those things that as an actor you've just got to approach it correctly. Sensibly, and obviously that's what I did. I spoke
but truthfully as well. Like, there has to be truthful there as well, because you can't make it like pantomime.
It's got to be truthful for the stakes for Jamie's and Pretty's story to go up. Otherwise if it's not truthful, the effects on their character wouldn't really be that important. And the whole thing is that the whole show is that it's going up, it's building up to this moment, especially for Pretty. Obviously I don't want to give spoilers away if people haven't seen it, but she has her moment. So yeah, I just approached it carefully, and just when I spoke to George, director, we sort of had a conversation. It was like, I made the decision to treat Dean as, I don't believe he is actually homophobic. I don't think he is actually racist. That language clearly comes out of his mouth, clearly, but I think his intentions are he's just trying to be funny, and he's going about it completely the wrong way, like completely. And I think I've sort of created circumstances for his backstory that we don't find out in the show, like about what his family life may be like, his situation at home, his relationship with his parents. That's what I use to help myself go through the script and understand why he is the way he is. There's no denying that he is a horrible lad, but where that comes from, that's what I wanted to figure out and make my own. So yeah, I had some discussions with George, and you know, we tried the scenes. Some scenes tried it in more of an aggressive way, in a more of a jokey way, where I would interact with other like year 11 characters around me. And then, yeah, we've just sort of come to where we find where it fits right. And yeah, it's I do hear a lot of tuts and in the audiences when certain language comes out. But then at the same time, that means that I'm doing my job right and that the script is doing its job right. And I'm very careful, as every actor should, to not push it even further than it needs to go. I sort of let the script do its thing, and I just carry it along in the correct way.
A fantastic answer, and definitely what you were saying is right. You've got to keep it truthful, but you've got to keep it. You've got to watch, because people can take offence at things. That's the other thing as well, and take it to heart. But the thing is, if people are tutting or to a certain extent even booing, like I don't think anybody's booed.
I've heard pretty much everything.
I've reacted once in the show, but that was to the dad, not to you or to Dean.
Right.
I decided to blot out the not born without a mother and father. At the scene that he's talking with Jamie's mum, and he storms off, and I'm like, oh, because he is my father. Like, my biological father is Jamie's dad, 100%. 100%. That's why I touch with him a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing about the show. Like what I was saying earlier, it doesn't just stop at the year 11 characters. There's the other characters in the show that people can relate to, which is a perfect case for you, for example. And that's why I think the show is done so well and connected to so many people. It's because of how, well, even though the story is crazy, it did happen, and
it was a true story, yeah.
Yeah, and it does happen, and that's why I think it's great for audiences to come along and see that it's relatable.
Completely relatable, even down to Ray, who not everybody has a Ray in their family or their friends, but everybody has a Joker. Like Ray's my favourite character, because she has some of the best lines in the show. Yeah, like, hands down.
Another scene of her. Another scene is the one with her and Jamie when Jamie's come back to speak to his mum after they've had a bit of a fallout, and that scene with them two is beautiful, because it's like you see Ray as this like family figure sort of pillar for Jamie, always like, yeah, you do you, I believe in you, you go out, you do this, ignore everybody else. And then there's that moment where she goes, you've messed up here. And I think for Jamie's character, that's a reality shock. So yeah, I love that scene. That's probably up there with my favourite scene in the show.
We're about to come to my favourite scene, and you're involved in it.
Okay.
Or Dean is involved in it.
Pressure.
The favourite scene, and not because of what happens in it, but because it is. You'll understand it right anyway. D wants to know, not Dean. D wants to know, what is Noah like as a kisser?
Great question. He's a great kisser. He's my first. It's quite funny. He's my first professional onstage kiss, which is that goes down in my personal history. So he will always have that place. He will always be the one.
He will always be your first.
No, exactly. Well, he lathers that lipstick or lip gloss on before he comes on, leaves a bit of a mess, but that works out because I'm doing all this stuff. But no, he's a good kisser. The boy's naturally got nice big lips. He's great.
So that's
one of the old D with the cheeky questions.
Yes, we had to. You didn't think you were getting off that lightly. We had to mention that. You don't get an on-stage kiss and not get mentioned in an interview. But that's one of my favourite scenes, because not necessarily just because of the kiss. That the kiss is hilarious at the end, but it's vital because it's Jamie starting to stand up to Dean. It's yes, I'm gay. So what? I'm a poof. I'm this, and then he's the one that says all the names and just walking in the high heels, and it's just
Yeah,
an
he's doing
absolute
it. He's doing it his
fantastic.
way. He's
Yeah.
doing it Jamie's way, or me's way. But we know where it's coming from. Yeah, he's doing it. He's standing up for himself for one of the first times. I know they've got that in one of the earlier scenes. There's like a little moment, but that's when he goes, you know what? I've just had my drag show. This is me. And yeah, like you say, he stands up for himself in his own way. And it's like reacting to that is like a huge thing for my character as well. It's massive, massive, massive thing. And then obviously, it causes a chain reaction of stuff. But
No, definitely. Moving on, Stuart wants to know, what is your favourite song in the show?
It's got to be, and you don't even know it. It just has to be. We get to this blackout. Oh, you hear dum dum dum. We all coming on. You can sort of feel the audience getting excited, and then lights up. We're all there talking to each other, having a laugh and a joke. I'll never forget first night. The adrenaline inside of me. We just came on stage and we sat down. Lights were up, and they're so bright on stage. And to go from blackout to that is mad. And then you just start joking around with everyone. Lines are hitting left, right, and centre. The pace is fast. And the audience are just sat there like, whoa, okay, like this is going to be great. Well, hopefully they are. That's going to be yeah. And it's great. Yeah, like you start to see the dynamic straight away from how people you get to see my relationship with Becca, and then you get to see my relationship with Mickey, and then Jamie's with Pretties, and you just start to get to see it, and then to go from how I treat Jamie, and then as the number sort of morphs into his fantasy in his head, you start doing the choreography, you start merging into that thing, and then immediately when it finishes, you snap right back, and it's like a classical musical theatre transition. You slowly burst into song, and then afterwards, boom, it's back. But that is my absolute favourite because we just come on stage and just hit the audience with so much energy. I love it. I never get tired of that song ever.
No, I can understand that. Yeah, it's definitely it's one of the most interesting opening numbers to a show.
I agree.
Because it does that. You don't automatically go straight. It doesn't start with the song. It starts with a bit of dialogue first, and then goes into the song. So that makes it a bit interesting. And you've got the start of the
I quite like that style because you just you get to piece it together slightly as it's happening.
Yeah,
which is quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Not that there's anything wrong with it coming straight into song either. I'm not saying either way is fine. But just this way for this musical is definitely more interesting. Giving the teacher some lines as well. Taylor wants to know, has the real Jamie seen you in the show yet?
Yeah, so the real Jamie came to our gala night. That we were there. He was couldn't come to our opening night because he was really, really busy with Panto. But yeah, I dread to think how many times he's in the show. But it was great. It was great having him there. We all spoke to him afterwards. But yeah, that's been the only time that I've seen him. But he's just, I can't imagine how it feels for him to constantly see like his story on this scale.
Musical named after him.
No, I can't. Whenever I think about it, I can't wrap my head around it. It's just it's a crazy, crazy thing. And then I was doing my own research of the show. I went back to the news articles back then when it all blew up. And it must just be crazy for him. But yeah, no, he came to see us on our gala night. So yeah.
So he has seen you. That's good.
Yeah.
Did you watch the documentary back when it was on BBC Three? You remember seeing that first initial?
I remember seeing it about obviously when it happened. I didn't pay too much attention to it when it was all happening. But then, obviously with this job, went back and sort of, how, it wasn't just a little thing. It was all over the country, all over the news. It was everywhere. And it was and now you look back and you think, why was it so big over a boy wanting to wear addressed to his prom. But it's just interesting. When you go back and you watch it, you understand it, because then you understand how far we've come in the space of not just since then, but how far we've come with just the show being open. Like people come to see it. So yeah, no, I hadn't seen the documentary when it. I didn't pay much attention to it when it was all happening, but then my research of the show brought me back, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's. I remember watching it at the time, but after rewatching it, I realised how much I do actually remember of it, and that's how I felt with it, definitely. A very quick one from Jane. She wants to know: are you single?
I was single. Yes, I am single. Yeah.
We ask all questions from fans.
Fair enough.
Are you a Jane or a Jamie type of person?
Am I what? Sorry.
A Jane or a Jamie type of person?
I'm a Jane type of person.
That's just for Jane's benefit. That's before she starts working away. Before she starts sliding into your DMs and it's a Jamie situation. That's nothing against any of them.
My DMs are closed.
The DMs are closed. That's how I managed to get you. So I don't know. Thomas, moving on. Thomas wants to know, what's the hardest thing about being in Jamie?
The hardest thing. The hardest thing. I think the hardest thing is I would say using some of the language that I have to use, because it is so unnatural, but I don't hate it because I understand it is like work. There's literally, I'm not just saying this for the sake of it. I absolutely love my job. I love the show. I do like my character in the right sort of way. I love playing him. I love my cast, everything about it. I've got my track in the show is really, really nice to have. I've got a bit of everything really. So there's really not a lot I hate about it. The only thing, I guess, if I had to pick something, would just be like some of the language and vocabulary that I use in the show. But other than that, nothing.
I know there is some strong ones. We're not obviously going to name them on here, because there is an age restriction on the show, and there's not on this, so we're not going to say any of them. But there is some interesting things you have to say. That's definite. Felix touches on a bit of the story, and he wants to know: have you ever tried drag?
No, I've never tried drag. I've tried putting my flatmate has just started to do it, not at like clubs or anything, but just like going for a night out and being like, yeah, sure, well, why not? And he has these proper thick boots. If he had like these like really tall stiletto, I think that's what you call them, there was no way that I would put them on. But he brought them into my room once and I had a look. I put them on. I took 2 steps and I was like, no, not gonna happen. I do not have the ability to do it. How Noah stands on the desks and catwalks and dances in them, I have no idea how he does that. I have no idea how women do it. I have no idea how drag artists do it. I have no idea how Noah does it. It is a talent. It is a talent. I'll say that.
Definitely is, yes. So you could never take over from Bianca then if you don't like working in high heels. He has to be in drag for quite a lot. Like Ray has to be in drag. Rufus, as it is now, at the moment anyway, it's Rufus Hound, obviously. Did he actually get to take? Did he start?
I can't wait to work with him because we were going that day that it all closed was his first night.
Was his first night?
Yeah, we were all called down to the stage, like everyone backstage, everything, and we were all excited, and then we got told it wasn't going ahead, and we were all gutted. But we all sort of gave our words of encouragement to each other, and can't wait to start with him when we're back.
4 months later and you're still not back, but you'll be back at some point. Savannah wants to know, following on from the last question, she asks, what would your drag name be if you were to do it?
It's funny because I have like a joking answer for this.
As long as it's no me. Or no. my or something.
No, it's not me. But you said that this was a bit PG, so I'm not sure if I should say it.
Yeah, and then we'll make.
Okay, Gloria Hole.
That That's a very good one. That's an
I find
interesting
that
one.
so funny. Why do I find that so funny? I literally, me and me and my sister were watching Drag Race not that long ago. This was literally like last week. I think we were watching the new Canadian one.
All right.
And I just said like, oh, my name would be Gloria Hole, and then we just cracked up laughing, and I was like, yeah, if it ever happens, that's it.
That's definitely, yes. That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good one, actually. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I even googled it to see. I even googled it to see if it was taken, and I don't think it is taken. So I'm going to copyright that right now.
I was about to say, get it copyrighted before this comes out, like right now. Definitely. Just so they know they can take it. So if I ever see GAY in London, Soho, and tonight's drag artist is Gloria Hall, we know who it is. It's Jordan Ricketts, let's go.
Amazing.
But it'll not be in stilettos because you can't walk in stilettos.
No, it will be flats.
It'll be, trainers. It'll be the only drag queen to ever do it in Converses.
And I'll rock it. I'll own it.
Well, yes. Yeah. It'll be different. Anyway, Michelle goes into the LGBT, obviously, side of things because it is a massive LGBT musical. And she asks, what's it like being in not only one of the biggest LGBT musicals of its time, but one of the biggest British musicals of the last 10 years?
It's really special. I think this show is a massive milestone in theatre, full stop. You know, it's starting to move over the world. We've got a production and career that's just started. We were going to start in Australia, but unfortunately that's been cancelled. Hopefully they can get that back up. But yeah, I think the importance of this musical is a lot bigger than possibly they initially thought, maybe. And it's just blown up, and it's a really, although my part in it is like an obstacle in that, it's really liberating to be part of a story that people can connect with and that people enjoy.
See, you were saying an obstacle, but I don't think you are an obstacle. I think, what am I trying to say here? Without Dean,
I get what you mean. No,
there wouldn't be a story.
Yeah. Maybe it's not necessarily like I'm not an obstacle, but I'm like, I know that the part is really important to the story.
The
and
bad guy.
Yeah. I feel like it is important. It's important to have that there, because then that gives the other characters, a certain drive, and it helps. Yeah. So maybe not obstacle, maybe just like a factor in the show, a factor that's considered, like a negative one, but it's still important. Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's still a very important. It's definitely a very important negative factor. Sorry, albeit a negative one. Caroline wants to know if you could be in any other show currently. We use the inverted commas because obviously there's nothing currently on. But if you could be any show currently on the West End, which one would you be and who would you play? So we're talking pre-lockdown.
Okay.
Pre-lockdown.
Currently on the West End.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I know there are shows now that have announced they're closed, but we'll count them as well. So anything that was on before lockdown happened.
Okay. I would love to be. It would be great to be like Honduras in Les Mis. I feel like that part is like cool. I'm still like improving on my legit style of singing and stuff like that. But that would be like amazing. I feel like his part was. I feel like his part. Pardon?
I could see he's a Marius.
Oh really? Could you?
Yeah, I could see he's Marius.
I'm not sure if I could sing high enough. I'm not quite sure how high he sings in the show.
I don't know about
like a baritone bass. So like, but thank you. I take that as a compliment. Thank you so much.
You could change it up.
Oh yeah.
Your Macintosh is open to change.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to. I used to work at the Victoria Palace Theatre, front of house, before I got Jamie, where Hamilton is, and I would absolutely love to be one of the ensemble tracks, like the Charles Lee track. That's like a really like fun part that every time I watched the show, every time I was sat inside the auditorium, that's a part that I just like, that drew me towards it. It's got a nice amount of singing, dancing, acting, And yeah, I would if I ever got that, I'd be even more over the moon. Well, not more over the moon than now, but I'd be buzzing. Basically.
Yeah, you'd be buzzing. Definitely.
Yeah.
We know what you mean, Jordan. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We know what
I'm
you mean.
muddling over my words.
Don't worry. It's been a while since you had to speak properly. Don't worry. We'll get you back into the role of things. Tosin wants to know, or Tosin, I don't know how you pronounce your name again. Apologies. I'm terrible with pronunciations of names. I don't know why I got into this job. What is one piece of advice you would give to your student for getting coronavirus, obviously, getting coronavirus out of it?
Sorry, what was that? What was...
James Gillen to translate, don't worry.
Yeah.
what is one piece of advice you would give to any student currently studying performing arts, but forgetting about coronavirus, so not like ignoring the coronavirus situation?
Okay. The advice that I would give is
you're just out, so you're fresh-minded. You know.
Yeah. So like advice, if I was still at drama school, I would say you get out of it what you put into it. There can be a lot of like distractions around you, whether that's like certain classes or people or other people at your school, but you really do. It's hard to get every single ounce of training that you need. It's pretty much impossible because there are other students there, but you literally get out what you put in. So my advice would be just like take any opportunity that you can from wherever you study, that you just take any opportunity to perform, doing whatever, down to stuff like if you've got acting through song lesson, and the teacher's like, okay, like who wants to get up and sing, be that person, just get up and sing, because you can't be like scared to get up, because I've had moments where I've got up early in the morning and I have cracked for the life of me, and you just got to laugh about it. You know, is it embarrassing? Yeah, but live theatre never, goes completely smooth ever. Never does. I think getting over the fact that you're going to go wrong sometimes, that's another like huge thing. Like going wrong is fine. I think for advice coming out is to stay as busy as you can. I feel like it's really easy to slip if you're like waiting for an audition to come through. Maybe it's really easy to like get a muggle job, as we tend to call it, and fall into a routine of stuff, and like subconsciously the drive may start to slip a bit. Not for everyone, but my advice would be to just keep yourself occupied with different things, whether that's going to the gym, going to dance classes, even if it's not anything active like reading, stuff like that. Just stay active coming out, because it's a huge change going from 8:15 to 7:15 every single day for 3 years, and then doing like none of it. It's a huge thing. It's a huge shock to the system. So you just try and keep things going.
Or if you're Jordan Ricketts, just got a job in the West End straight away.
Oh, enough of that now.
Then about 4 months, you just got a job in the West End.
Very, very lucky and grateful. That's
yes, no, that was good luck. It was. You tried hard for that one, so that.
I'm definitely content that I've worked really, really hard. Because at drama school you have to if you want to get anywhere. Yeah. So I've definitely put the work in. But yeah, no, very, very grateful. Very.
Definitely. That doesn't happen very often, but it was fantastic to hear that you fresh out of drama school and you just got a West End, one of the kind of leading roles, if you like, because you're one of the leading roles. You're certainly one of the main students in the class. Anyway, last question from the fans, and it's quite a popular question. We get asked. Everybody's getting asked this one at the moment, and it can only be asked at the moment. And you understand why in a minute. Tara wants to know, if you had to go into lockdown with one character from Jamie, who would you pick and why? So you're going by character, not who plays them. So forget who plays them.
Character. Oh, what character would I go with? I would probably say Mickey
I thought you were going to say me. I thought you were going to say me. I'm like, really? Right,
No,
Mickey.
I'll say,
Why Mickey?
I'll say Mickey because, well, in the show, he's like Dean's best mate, but then also also my mate Alex, who I know we're only sticking to characters, but Alex, who plays the role of Mickey, he actually went to Bird College with me, so we were in the same year. He got Jamie early from college and left, and then left, and then after I graduated, I got it. So we get on really, really well. We've known each other 4 years now, and yeah, it's just he's a nice guy. And we get on well, and Dean and Mickey could get on well. So yeah, Mickey.
You twisted that a wee bit. You gave a slight politician's answer and answered how you wanted, but we'll let you off.
Another one would be
sorry,
Hugo,
we'll let you off.
but then I've talked about Hugo, haven't I?
Yeah, I can understand why you'd pick Hugo though. Especially when Hugo's so different. Hugo is the one character that has changed probably the most actor-wise. I think the most actors have played Hugo than any other character on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've seen, apart from Rufus, obviously, because we can't comment on him because he's not done it yet. But apart from him, I've seen everybody that does it. I've right from Phil Nichol, who did it right at the beginning, to Bianca, who was the last one, / Ray. So I've seen them all. Obviously in the middle you had Shane Ritchie and everything. So no matter who played them, they played them differently, but no matter who played them, it was a fantastic character, definitely. It was a fantastic. The character's just great. Yeah. Anyway, we've got to the end of the fans' questions. You can relax slightly.
Jeez,
slightly. The pressure has changed. It hasn't gone away.
No, of course. It never goes away. Never goes away.
The next stage for all the fans that will know, or the West End Talks fans will know, is the not so quick fire round.
Okay.
Now, this round was originally called quick fire, but you'll understand in a minute why it was changed to not so quick fire round.
I'm scared.
So these are more questions. These are questions about Jordan rather than Dean or any other parts that you've played before.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's not things like what's your PIN number for your bank account or your inside leg measurement or anything like that. It's theatre related questions about Jordan.
Cool.
So the first one is, what would your dream role be? If a director or a producer came up to you and said you could have any role you wanted, regardless of age or race, not gender, we'll come to that in a minute.
Okay, Leo Frank in Parade.
Oh, that's a good one, yes.
Just
why?
Oh, it's just, I mean, yeah, if you know Parade, you know why. It's just amazing. It's the answer I always give if people ask me that, because his character just goes through an absolute roller coaster of things, based on a true story. The music from Robert Brown is amazing. The story is amazing. Yeah, Leo Frank from Parade for sure.
I can understand that. Yeah, definitely can understand that. So the other reversal of that is, what would your dream gender reverse role be? So that's a role traditionally played by a female.
I've never thought about this. Oh, I've never ever thought about this. What is a really good part for a female? Oh, that's a good question. That is. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe like one of the like, is it, what's the name? It's like Daniela or like Carla in the Heights, I believe, like the salon.
All right, yeah.
Salon ladies. Yeah. I love the musical, and those two characters are hilarious together. And I remember watching Victoria Hamilton Barrett do it, and she was pregnant at the time when she did it. And I was like, how is this woman doing this? And she was amazing. So yeah, let's go with that. I'm pretty sure it's Daniela is her name. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
There is a Daniela in it. So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen In the Heights. So I'm not the best with names when I haven't seen the shows for a while. But yeah, we can understand who you mean.
Sure.
You've described them well enough. It is a fantastic musical. Lin-Manuel's just a genius,
Genius.
and everything he's done. So, second last question. What is your favourite musical theatre song? Now, that doesn't have to be one you've performed. It can be, but it doesn't have to be one you've performed.
Okay. At the moment, because I'm just going off, I don't, with me, I don't listen to like, I do listen to musical theatre in my spare time, but I like to, my music range is all over the shop. I listen to a lot. I like
Very
to like,
eclectic.
yeah, you know, I like to sort of, you know, come away from it sometimes, but I absolutely love it. So at the moment, I'll probably say The Room Where It Happens from Hamilton. I think, I know that may seem like a really cliche answer, but rewatching it on Disney Plus and going back to obviously when I used to work there, it's the song is just an absolute banger, to be honest. It's got like a really good build to it. Leslie absolutely kills it in that Broadway filming of it. So yeah, The Room Where It Happens.
Yeah, that's definitely fantastic. Last question of the night, and it's probably the hardest. What is your top 5 shows? Now, that doesn't have to be ones you've been in again. It can be. You can include Jamie or that, but you doesn't have to. What would be your top 5 shows?
So I think top 5 shows. Let's go with Hamilton. Not in any order, but I'd go Hamilton. No. Is one of them. I would say Bonnie and Clyde is another one.
Oh, good one, yeah.
I'd say Parade. I would say one because I went to go see a performance of it and I just absolutely loved how it was done. Top Hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just another. It's one of my favourites more for like after going to see it, because I went to go see it by myself. I just watched it and it was another one of them refreshing, like, this is what I want to do type things. So Top Hat, that was with Alan Burkett and Charlotte Gooch, who was just phenomenal. And the last one, let's go with Heathers. Heathers.
Yes. Yeah. you should go into Heathers. Yeah.
I would love to. I went to go see it at the other Palace and I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought Jamie Moscato, I think that's how you pronounce his name, his JD was awesome. He was so good. The guy's effortless. Opens his mouth a tiny bit. That role.
You could do that role because there's the tour coming up. There's the tour coming up.
I'm getting all these compliments from you. Thank you so much.
Oh, don't worry. The last thing before you go, have you heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Like when they did it for the ALS one?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
You have. That's good. We're not going to get you to do it. Don't worry.
Okay.
2 reasons I mentioned it. The first reason, I'll just basically to see your reaction because some of them are fantastic.
Right.
And the other reason is when you did it, I don't know if you personally did it, but when they did it back in the day, you did it and then you had to nominate somebody.
Yeah.
So we've come up with the West End Talks nomination.
Okay.
So this entails you can use to nominate somebody to do another talk, to get to come in and do a talk and after you, because you've been through the pain. So it's now time to inflict that pain on somebody else.
Okay.
Now that can be there's rules to this. It can be anyone from theatre, film, or TV, and because we're covering all the arts, not just theatre. Preferably somebody you know, because the whole point is you're to try and help us get them in. Right, so who would you like to nominate?
I would like to nominate my friend called Rebecca Luter.
All right, and how would we know? What kind of things has she done?
She went to Bird College with me. She's a good friend. I've known her for years now, and she has just come back from doing. She played Jan in Greece on a Royal Caribbean cruise.
Oh, fantastic! So something a bit different. Cruising rather than static, if you like. So rather than walking into the Apollo and coming out the Apollo, you're walking in Spain and coming out in Africa or whatever.
She has such a great time. She'll be happy to tell you all about it.
I can imagine, and we'd like to know. So what we need you to do now is after this chat, go onto Twitter, pop up on Twitter that you've just done the Talk West End Talks, and tagging Rebecca. I nearly said tagging Jan. Tag Rebecca in
I'm writing Jan now. I'm going to do it.
You need to tag Rebecca, so you can't tag Jan. Just some random Jan on Twitter.
Sure.
But no, tag them and we'll get that set up. That was fantastic. But that's us. You have survived. You've survived the chat. All that's left for you guys at home.
I'm going to give myself a round of applause. A pat on the back. Thank you.
It's been a while since you had a round of applause, so we'll give you one. So all that's left for you guys at home to remember is one of the real reasons we're here. Obviously, it's to find out about Jordan, but it's also to raise some much needed funds for Acting for Others. So if you can, anything at all you can spare, it's a great charity, fantastic charity that helps the whole acting community, no matter what job you do. Not just at the moment, they do help all year round, but they are helping obviously, especially at the moment when all the theatres are in darkness. So please, anything you can, the link's in the bio below, so please, every little helps, as Tesco says. And join us next time when we'll have the wonderful Adrian Hansel, who has been in many a show, but you'll know him as the original Seaweed in the original cast of the West End's Hairspray. Yes, I like that. So join us then. But Jordan, once again, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. And guys, take care. Bye now.
Okay, guys, bye.
Nothing's going to stop us from coming out of the darkness.